Y'all, we have a special guest today. Welcome to the Secure Future Podcast. Where we just like to, this is conversations, bro. Conversations where we're just a bridge to the gap. To get people from where they are to where they want to go based off of whoever we're talking to, having conversations. So the first thing I'm gonna ask you is this, bro. If you had to introduce yourself and nobody knew who you were, how would you introduce yourself?
I'm just somebody that didn't quit.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Amari here. I know you're watching the episode, and I'm sure you're probably tuned in, but I just have one request. We have one request, and that is that you subscribe to our channel, subscribe to this YouTube video, because, number one, we want to make sure that you're alerted whenever we come out with the next episode and the next episode. And then also, we want to make sure that we continue to have high-quality guests, continue to have high-quality conversations, and that'll happen if you subscribe, which will bring the traffic to our page. So we're excited about it, and get back to the episode.
Became a student, stopped playing sports at 18.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
We can start with your name.
Yeah, that's not even important. I'll get
your name, how you bring value. Yeah, how would you introduce yourself?
I would say somebody that didn't quit, but my name is Mike Sotero. I just turned 31, and somebody that just grew up middle-class family. That whole story, but when I stopped playing baseball at 18, I had a life-changing surgery at 16 that I don't talk too much about. I'll share it on this podcast, where I didn't think I was going to see my 17th birthday. And that's why I have my height. I've been the same height for a long time. And it was something in my knee, got through that. And at 18, stopped playing sports, got into entrepreneurship. And then 2017, I found, crypto, markets, trading, all that stuff. But somebody that didn't give up and that always has had a desire for more.
So if I can go back, or if I can ask you this question, you can go back 10 years ago, right, from today. 10 years ago today.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of where we've been friends for, 13?
Too long, but go ahead, too long.
Yeah. If you can go back 10 years ago from this moment right now, knowing what you know, what are some of the things maybe you would have told yourself, or that you would, go back and say, hey, young Mike,
yeah,
these are the things that, you should probably know, you should probably do?
I would say probably take more risks. Like, people play their whole life safe, and like Jim Rohn has that famous quote that nobody's going to get out alive. So I probably would have maybe even traveled more, said yes to more things, and also valued certain moments. I also sacrificed a lot of birthdays, a lot of family things, and I don't believe in balance. I believe you have to go all in. So other than buying Bitcoin, I would have just said, say yes to more things, right? Opportunities would have showed up that did show up, but I said no to. Just literally saying yes to everything and going outside the country a lot sooner and a lot further, and probably living in a different place a lot earlier on in my life.
Yeah. I think a lot of times when people look at the experiences that they have, and I'm grateful as well to been able to travel since I was young.
Yeah. And
I think that's kind of why I maybe value experiences a little bit more than like monetary stuff. And I think it's very important that people, see different culture. But what are some of the reasons why you would tell, people that they want to, you should say yes to more, and also travel the world more to see different things?
I've been to 43 countries. I've been around to a lot of places, but probably go and live somewhere at an earlier age. And look, it's not too late. 2026 might be that year where I disappear for 6 months in another country. We'll see what God has in store. But when you're younger, you can take more risks. Now, most people, they can take risks, or they say yes to risks, but they don't have the capital behind it. So you got to find a way to create capital, and then in your lifestyle, it just fits in. So find a way to make money online is like one of the biggest pieces of advice going into 2026. I don't care if you have a job, you're a single mom, you have a family. If you stop working, does your income stop? Big thing. And then when you have that extra income, does it allow you to go to different places? Because you become more creative in different environments. And when I was 19, 20, 21, I was kind of around not the best environment to thrive. So get out the comfort zone. And that happens in other places when you just don't know what could happen in everyday life.
Top 5 maybe countries you've been to, top 3, top 2.
Man, I mean, it's so different. You have like the Caribbean and like the hot places, but Switzerland was sick. Austria, fire. One of my favorite countries is probably Croatia. Split. Dunsbrick. I don't even know how to say the name.
I've been to Split before. Split is great.
I love Croatia, but you can't go wrong with Peru. Some of the best food in the world.
Never been.
Colombia, incredible.
Want to go.
Cabo, got to go to Cabo San Lucas in Mexico on the other side under California. So really all over. But I look at it like Europe has its own world, and then Just the Caribbean, man, is always a good time.
Shout out to my Jamaicans out there.
Been to Turks and Caicos?
Come on now.
Turks it's different.
A funny story about Turks and Caicos. So back in the day, I've been to Turks and Caicos maybe like 5 times up until maybe I was 17, 18 years old. And every year, my godmother, who now owns, 19 Wingstops, I think now.
Nice.
Tina. She every time we went, it was either for a marriage or a divorce.
To Turks? Jeez.
Yeah, so that's just kind of one of the places that we went, and I love Turks. And if you go to Turks and Caicos, I think everybody should stay at. You can stay on your own place, your own Airbnb, your own villa, but everybody should stay at Beaches Resort. It's like a resort. It has maybe 4 or 5 different sections. It's all inclusive. They have different parties. They have different activities, different shows, so many different people. And we got to a point where we would go about the 3rd, 4th, and 5th time that we went. It's like we knew the people there.
Yeah.
So we knew the people
That's
there.
what happens.
And then like the 4th or 5th time we went, we knew them so much, and we were old enough at this point to where they would the people that worked there also lived there. So they would take us off the property, and we would go and have a good time. So I love Turks and Caicos. And they have beautiful water there.
And I like going to certain countries where like you can tip really good and it really impacts their life. Like going to like third world countries, people say is dangerous. I think you should go to all of them. And if you are a negative person, then you'll attract negativity and you'll put yourself in bad situations. But if you're a positive person, you could really make a difference. So here's a tip: when you're traveling, especially to certain countries, always leave a good impression and always give more. The bill's 20%. It comes out the card. Give an extra $5, $10, $20, $30. Because to that person, that's the waiter or waitress, that could be like a whole day of work, or maybe even a week of work sometimes.
What is maybe the importance of earning here, but then also going to travel and spending less? Is that something that you look at when you're traveling and whatnot at different places?
Always. When you don't have a lot of money, you think saving money, hoarding money is like the answer. But the moment I started giving, so every time I travel, I'll take a certain amount of money in 1s or 5s or 10s, and I'll just add it to the bill, add it and give it to people, the people at the door, the people that are taking your bags to your room, all that stuff. And your money goes further, and it makes a big difference. I was in the Bahamas recently in Nassau, where the average person in Nassau, Bahamas, maybe makes like $1,000 a month, my driver was telling me. And I gave one of the doormen like $100 because he helped me the entire weekend. I had my golf clubs with me, and I gave him like $100 at the end of the trip. And he like was so appreciative that he almost cried. And then he was telling me stories of his son, and I gave him a little bit extra money, and just a great person that the cards that he was dealt, he's in a tough situation. And if you can help somebody and God's blessed you, you got to be that blessing.
No, 100%. Let me ask you this. What kind of, how did this start? All right, so now you talked about cryptocurrency, you talked about traveling, you're talking about all the things, right? But what got you here? What got you to this moment? How did it all start for you?
I mean, it depends. It depends which way you want to look at it.
However you want to tell it.
You can look at it somebody years ago, right? Our grandparents, our parents, our great-grandparents, right? They made decisions that led to where we're at today. You can look at it from the perspective of, I just said yes one more time. And if that's the point of view you're looking at, 2017, I was down bad. In 2016, I made about $2,000 as a entrepreneur, and people thought I was successful on Instagram and on Facebook. And I said yes in Q1 of 2017 to start investing and start studying that game. And that's what I've been a student of. And now it's what I teach all around the world to people about the markets and stuff like that. But I don't want to be labeled as the crypto guy or the trading guy. I do not like that label. I do not want that at all. I want to be labeled as somebody that came on earth, that made a difference. And you make a big difference in people's lives if you help them financially. That's, I think, one of my callings here. One of them.
Wait, so why don't you want to be labeled as a crypto guy? Because you have a lot of knowledge about this.
Yeah,
space.
I just hate the space. I kind of hate crypto sometimes, and I hate crypto people because they're just annoying, and they're screaming about buying this meme coin, and that whole box that they get put in is just really toxic, to be honest. And we live in Miami where people rent cars and they show things that they don't really even own. But God can handle all those things, all the people lying and manipulating. And that's a lot in the crypto space and just the marketing space, trading people's money. I've never done it. I'll never do it. All the fake accounts on Instagram, those are not real. So don't send anybody you don't know money to trade the money for you. Learn the skill and invest your own money.
So if somebody was getting started, right? Where would they start at?
They got to learn the basics, and they got to decide. I believe everybody should be an investor. So there's a difference between investing and trading. So everybody should be an investor.
Okay.
You're an investor of your time. Look at your priorities. You're an investor there. Now, trading, it takes more time, takes more skills. But what happened for me was from 2017 to 2020, I was buying crypto. I was an investor. I was learning how to trade Forex and trading on these crazy platforms, but just kept blowing my money, kept losing accounts. Should have just kept that Bitcoin. But I was investing, and I had a plan to keep investing, and I still have a plan. And now I invest in, different things, crypto, stocks, different assets, ETFs. But everybody needs to start investing. And I don't care if you start investing $5 a day or $5 a week, whatever you can start with, and then scale your income up, hopefully, is a great goal. And then continue. Jim Rohn says, what do you do with $1? Take $1. How do you divide it? Most people divide it very, very poorly.
And when you say divide it poorly, what are some things that people can stay away from when they're investing? Like, I want to know from like, all right, pretend I don't know anything in terms of, hey, Mike, I have $1.
Yeah.
I have $10. I have however much money. What should that look like? And I know we're not giving financial advice here, but maybe what are some of the things that you've done in order to, grow your portfolio or become an investor first, as you say?
Well, you have to learn, right? You have to take losses. In 2017, when crypto kind of started to get some traction, there was a thing called ICOs, right? Initial coin offerings. And a lot of new coins would come out. And I lost a ton of money that I couldn't afford to lose at the time. 2021, I lost 6 figures on one investment, right? A low cap crypto, lost the money. So you have to lose sometimes to realize. So anybody promising returns, gains, anybody that's trading your money, any software that's just going to make you rich overnight, those are all red flags. And eventually certain people come knocking and they get in trouble. So you just avoid those things and you play the game of more conservative, right? You look for things in crypto. Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, Solana have done very, very well for me. I would say those are more of the safe havens. Long term, I think they do very well. In stocks, depends on when you're getting in the market, but right now this is the AI boom, the tech boom. You have all these crypto companies like Coinbase that went public, Gemini just went public, Kraken is going public, and in May of this year, the OCC now allows crypto exchanges to become banks and banks to become crypto exchanges. So you have to look at the facts, the foundation, and you can't buy into the hype. That's always good advice.
What are your thoughts about that? About banks now allowing crypto exchanges to be, or the government allowing crypto exchanges to be banks? First of all, can you explain maybe what a crypto exchange looks like or what that is, and even do you believe that is something that people should participate in?
Well, yeah. So, for example, Coinbase. Coinbase is the biggest regulated platform in the U.S. They are now an official bank, so they could actually start taking customers and serve them as a traditional bank client like a Chase or Wells Fargo. And then they also just released, stocks. So now you could buy stocks there. So they're kind of following this Robinhood model, where on Robinhood, they offered crypto back in the day. They got in trouble with the SEC. People just have short-term memory loss. They forgot about it. But Robinhood offers everything, crypto, stocks, options, and all in one platform. Coinbase is going a step further. Ripple is now a license to be a charter bank, where we could see Ripple banks on the sides of the streets here in the next couple of years. But they just want to hold people's cash, and they're going to move it into a stable coin. And the reason that they're going to do it in a stable coin is the blockchain fees. So things like Tether, you've heard of USDT?
Of course.
USDT is doing about, I think it's like $20 million a day in fees.
Sheesh.
Every bank wants a piece of that. SoFi, one of the biggest banks right now.
I have SoFi.
Guess what? They just launched a stable coin 3 days ago, where they're going to take basically, I think, people's cash, convert it to a stable coin. How come on a Friday, Amari, if you want to send money to another country, there's a wire fee, there's all these questions asked sometimes if it's big amounts of money? Well, if it's in the stable coin, it could be instant settlements. It would settle on the network. They'll make a small percentage in fees, SoFi, and your money moves in seconds.
So when you said network.
Yeah.
What explain that part? You said a network. It settles on the network.
Yeah, so theirs is built, I believe, on the Ethereum network. So Ethereum is think of Ethereum as land, and it's open source. So
Ethereum is a coin.
Yeah, Ethereum's a coin. That's the token that's a part of the Ethereum blockchain.
Right.
But the blockchain on Ethereum you can build on. Solana you can build on. You can't build on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's purpose is not to be built on. Yes, there's things like STX is a crypto that people can research, but Ethereum's purpose is to build projects on it. So Uniswap, the Aves, you can build on ETH. So SoFi stablecoin, Tether, USDC, they're built on the Ethereum network. Lower fees. Solana has even lower fees than Ethereum.
15-second. We were talking today. A 15-second transaction. Well, as of right now, it's a 15-second transaction time.
It's very fast.
Right.
And the rumor that years ago, the narrative was when Solana went from 300 to 8, and I told all my students to buy it at 8, 12, 16, 20, 25, and then it went back to 300. The narrative was FTX had too much Solana. Alameda Research invested in all of Solana's ecosystem, and then Solana dropped, and people thought Sol was going to zero. And I remember standing on stage when Solana was $15 in Croatia, in Sweden, in a bunch of different countries in Europe at the time, saying, hey, Solana might be a good buy at $20. And even today, as the market's pulled back, it's at 125 right now. Still up 5, 6, 7x from those lows. And I think Sol goes to $500 on this run, $400 to $500 in the next couple of years. Stripe is building on Solana. USDC has a Solana coin, and that's the number one right now. Liquidity moving to USDC on Sol, and it's choosing it over Ethereum. Why? It's faster. So merchants are using Sol over ETH, but ETH has that government kind of tie to it. ETH has that JP Morgan, that Circle backing, and ETH's not going anywhere. But so both can win, and that's the game that people think it has to be one or the other. That's like saying Palantir versus NVIDIA. NVIDIA is going to be leading the charge, but Palantir is right behind it when it comes to like AI and tech and all that stuff.
So when you're talking about these different coins, right? And I've been in the space for a long time as well. You know, when you're talking about these different coins, you know, when somebody wants to get involved into a Bitcoin or into Ethereum or into a Sol or into a, you know, maybe you use a USDT network, you know, or maybe use USDC, but instead of using Ethereum, using the USD Solana network, just the intricacies of it. You know, what maybe is the purpose of people getting into these coins? Like, why should people use the different, you know, frameworks? Maybe we can start with Bitcoin and go to Ethereum and then go to maybe like a Sol. Yeah.
Well, you have right now an issue where you have all these blockchains. A new person's not going to come into crypto and understand that, choosing Tron over Sol. So you have a lot of platforms that are making it easy, no matter what blockchain you're cryptos on, USDC or USDT, when it's sent to somebody else, it solves that problem kind of for them. So they don't have to really choose. But different networks have different fees. I right now would kind of lean toward either ETH or Solana from a stablecoin perspective. And then you can split kind of the risk of Tether and USDC for stables. But every blockchain is a little bit different. You know, Bitcoin is a lot slower, but Solana's faster, but you can't build on Bitcoin.
So is Bitcoin more of like a store of value?
Yeah, Bitcoin's store of value, but Bitcoin's also a currency. It's an energy, right? It's like digital gold. Ethereum is like digital oil. So with digital gold, it's also fractionalized. Bitcoin has 21 million. It's going to take another 100 years for the rest to come into play. And guess what? Bitcoin has outperformed everything. So when people say Bitcoin's dropped 30%, which is down right now, 35% right now this year, it had a bad 2025. Just zoom out a little bit. And remember, 5 years ago, it was sitting at $4,000 and it went to $120,000 in less than 5 years. And when we get that rotation from silver and gold, which are currently today at all-time highs, Bitcoin will make its move to 150, 200, 220.
What do you think the all-time high of Bitcoin would be in the next 5 or 10 years?
It could be 10 million. We don't know. But in the next 10 years, if you're asking me that today, where I think Bitcoin goes, I think it goes to 700,000 to 1.2 million in the next 10 years.
Right. So Bitcoin, so banks, right? I think we were going to the gym one day.
Yep.
And I think one of the big private equity firms, I don't know if it was BlackRock or Vanguard, which one it was, they had just launched an ETF, a Bitcoin ETF.
Yeah.
And we had talked about it. Why do you think the government now is moving more into putting their money into people, I guess putting people's money into the Bitcoin and into cryptocurrency? And if you are an investor of these particular types, I know we talked about self custody and ledgers and all this stuff, should you do it with a bank because I guess or with a private equity firm, or should you do it? Should you invest into it on your own and keep it on your own ledger? And what's maybe the difference between the two?
Yeah, so it's very important to understand a spot ETF. When you buy an ETF, think of it like a share. You do not own the asset. So if you buy BlackRock's IBIT product or their ETF product for Ethereum or Solana, you do not own the coins. They do. They get the voting rights. They get the power. Okay, you own a fraction of it from a share perspective. They get the voting power. They get the decisions. It's closed on the weekends. It's more like a stock, quote unquote. You want to own the asset where you have custody of it. So you buying it on a Coinbase or you buying it on an exchange, you having it in your ledger, you have the seed phrase. When it's in an ETF, they have the seed phrase and they have the coins, and they have custody of those assets. So that's the difference between spot ETF. Spot ETF, they hold it. You have like a share price in your stock brokerage account. And what I would suggest is not to do that. But why? It's super simple. Old money needs insurance. Old money, big money, billions and trillions, they need that guarantee. Right now, there's not even crypto regulation in the US. That has been suppressing crypto for a long time. And crypto has topped out until that happens. We have a bill that the Senate is going to pass, hopefully in the next 45 days in January, the market structure bill, the Clarity Act. We're going to get a signature from President Trump on that right when it gets passed, and it will. That moving forward gives custody, or not custody, that gives the power to two entities to run and to monitor crypto. One, CFTC is in charge. The CFTC just got confirmation of Mike Selig to be the next director of the CFTC. He is extremely pro-crypto. And then the SEC will follow the jurisdiction under them. Paul Atkins, who is the commissioner of the SEC, is pro-crypto, pro-XRP, loves the space, talking about on Twitter a couple of days ago, tokenization is going to take over everything. And these two entities are going to be monitoring and regulating the space. Once we have that, we get tax regulation, we get clarity on leverage. A major issue in crypto right now, it's not being talked about, is leverage. Leverage is hurting the space. And the whales, the Binances of the world can sell everything on leverage down. The ETFs can follow that by, right now, that ETFs are selling some of the crypto in those ETFs. So it's more manipulation, bring price down, and then they just buy, sell to buy. So a lot of stuff's about to happen in crypto in the next 45 days. It's an exciting time. It's not a time to be scared as we're recording this.
Do you believe that with more regulation with the CFTC and the SEC, when it comes to cryptocurrency and digital currency, do you think that it would hurt the ability to maneuver in and out of crypto, how people are now? Do you believe that regulation and taxation is a good thing for cryptocurrency when it was based off what people are saying, when it was built for self-independence and for, non-regulated action?
Yeah, it's two sides of the coin. It's like, if there's regulation, this space probably goes, right now we're at about 3 trillion in market cap. It probably goes 10 to 20 trillion in the next 5 to 10 years. Without it, we probably topped out, because they need a way to get their foot in. They need a way to get their clients in. You talked about BlackRock, but did you know Vanguard, the second biggest company in the world, go look at any major stock, Apple, Google, Nvidia. There's 2 top shareholders, BlackRock, Vanguard, BlackRock. Vanguard last year said, hey, we're not getting into crypto. We don't believe in Bitcoin. They just launched a Bitcoin ETF, and they're bringing ETFs of all these other assets to their clients. So they're going to have their footprint in there. And guess what? They are going to need more regulation for trillions of dollars to come in. So do I want it? No. But I also want my portfolio to do a 10, 20x. So there's just that fine line. Bitcoin will always be the most decentralized. Taxation in certain countries is at 0%. We're going to see how it's treated in the U.S. Right now, it's capital gains. We have a pro-crypto White House for the next 3 years. Do they pass a no capital gains for crypto? It's on the table. I think it's on the table. Maybe U.S. cryptos that are being built in the U.S. It's very possible 2026, 2027, it would have to get done. So if it means that we go and do a 5, 10x, I'm for it.
But if the bank holds the coins, they control the asset,
Yeah, they have voting power.
and they have voting power,
Yeah.
then is it really a decentralized space?
No, it's a lot less. Look at Ethereum. Ethereum used to be proof of work, which means those mining rigs, like the electricity and all that stuff, it was like Bitcoin. Then it moved to proof of stake, which is like the network creates the Ethereum. So how the heck did that happen? There's a lot of conspiracy behind that it was forced, that it was a government play behind Ethereum. But no, I mean, we don't want everybody to even be in crypto. Like, you want to get into crypto when everybody's fearful and everybody's scared. And the ETFs validate that crypto's like the future. But they're taking people through this emotional roller coaster to get retail out so they can get more. So you just can't fall for that trap. But the institutions are here. They're not going anywhere. Grayscale, go to grayscale.com and look at all the different products that they have. They're kind of giving the roadmap of what's going to get approved next. We just also had futures contracts launch for XRP and for Solana. Both are traded on the CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Very, very big. But when ETH CME futures contract launched in 2019, ETH crashed. ETH dropped aggressively down, and this launched when we were going up. So now that the market's coming down, it's obviously manipulated. Every market's manipulated, and you just can't get scared when the market's selling off so fast because it's magnified. Okay, crypto is magnified to stocks and any other asset.
So is it safe to say that people should be investing in the crypto, which I think you're saying yes, and I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
But then also, here's the other question. How would you tell somebody to do it? Are there ways maybe to create?
It's real simple to invest. One, register with an exchange that's regulated in your country. So if you're in the U.S., Coinbase, Kraken, these are regulated platforms. Two, buy a ledger. Go to ledger.com. Don't buy it on Amazon. Don't buy it on Walmart. Okay, you buy the coins. You buy what you want to buy. Okay, I would not be buying meme coins or any low caps. Low cap coins have under 100 million market cap, and most altcoins are trash. And I've said this for a long time. 1 year ago, I spoke at an event, remember, at Epic Talks, and I said all these meme coin and this potentially be a top, and the market corrected. You want to buy real assets, and Bitcoin is king. And if Bitcoin drops, the other assets drop. So you get an exchange, you get a ledger. You buy the coins on an exchange, you send it to your ledger, and you self-custody. That's it. It's all you have to do. Now there's other stuff to it. What coins, what levels, how do you learn? There's all of that side of it, but it's not that hard. Just like most people have a Roth IRA or a 401k and their job kind of just invests for them, you just automate the process. You can set up a recurring withdrawal from your bank account to a crypto exchange, and every Friday, every week, every 2 weeks, every month, you continue to just DCA certain assets. I treat Bitcoin like a long-term savings account, and historically, you always want to buy Bitcoin when it drops 30 to 40%. You just buy, and you say, I'll see you later in 5, 10, 20 years. The other assets, you also you need to have some education behind it, and you need to pick a zone that you're going to like DCA into. For example,
DCA. Can you explain that?
DCA, super simple. Dollar cost average. Now, the thing is most crypto people will say, just always DCA and always be buying. I think that's stupid, right? In 2025, even publicly on my Instagram, we aggressively bought Ethereum, for example, 1,400 to 1,800 in April of 2025. Go look at the chart. Go look at my Instagram reels. Publicly there. ETH went to about 4,000, past 4,000 in September, October of this year, right? There's time. So we were DCAing May and April. Then we stopped. The moment it got above 1,800, we stopped, and we took some profits when price broke out. Right now, we're currently, Solana, for example, 125 is price while we're recording. If it goes to 105 to 85, I'm aggressively getting back in. Super simple. I pick that zone, and I hammer that zone with amount of money that I'm willing to lose. And I average in slowly on the way down, and I'll take aggressive positions. The lowest entry will be the most aggressive because that gives me a better averaged price. If I buy it at 100 with $5,000 and I buy it at 80 with $10,000, my average is going to be closer to that $80 number than the higher entry. Super simple.
Now, how can somebody make money? They're looking at this saying, all right, I know what you do.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, crypto is great. It looks great. People are investing into it. I've been hearing about it for 10, 20 years at this point. how can I make money with this asset? Do I just buy it and hold it forever, or how can I take profit? How can I turn it into dollars?
Yeah, you never buy something without knowing when you're going to sell it. If I buy this pair of shoes for $50 and the intention is to make money from it, and somebody offers me 100, immediately I'm going to sell that because 100 was in the back of my mind. I'm willing to sell it at 100, nothing less than 100. So for Bitcoin, for most people, I would probably recommend don't ever sell it. Okay. For other assets, you got to have exits. You got to sell on the way up, or you're going to get stuck holding the bag and you're going to get stuck in bad cycles. So you buy Solana at 115, for example. You immediately need to know your exit strategy. So I'll give you a free exit strategy. You buy Solana, let's say it's $100. You sell half at 250, and then you sell 25% at 350, and the last 25% at 500. And if you want to keep a small percentage, or maybe 10% that you just never sell, and you treat it like a savings account, you can easily do that super, super long term. Now, with more riskier projects like mid caps, projects like maybe like a Uniswap or like an Aave, there I'm willing to accumulate now, and I will sell on the way up. But I'll pick 3 or 4 exits, and I'll, just like I DCA'd in, I'll also DCA out. So I'm not staring at the charts. I'll just set the alerts. Once it hits it, I start to sell. But yeah, holding is how you become wealthy. Look at the people that bought real estate in 2008. Whoever had cash, 2008, 09, 2010, they bought, they did nothing. If you just have 2 properties in Miami, you're a millionaire, on paper at least.
It's like people who bought it even 2021.
Yeah.
It's like, I think if you bought real estate in 2021 to 2022 or before, it's like you have a 2%. Mortgage rate, where now it's like it's 6, it's 7.
But in 10 years, we'll look back at the time now and
be
say,
like,
wish I would have bought the real estate there.
Right. My mom always says the best time to buy real estate was 5 years ago. So the best time to buy real estate is today.
Yeah, I agree with that. Same thing with crypto.
Right.
Now, just not every crypto.
Right. So you're saying pick some of the top projects, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and if you were to pick maybe not the top projects, you would have to do extensive research and be willing to risk what you're willing to lose, is what?
Yeah, there's altcoins, there's other projects, like if Ethereum wins, like the biggest decentralized exchange, so like Coinbase is centralized, you need a name, email. You have decentralized exchanges like Uniswap, currently trading at $6 today. We bought Uniswap in Thanksgiving of 2020 or 2021. It went from $2-3 to like $50, and it's doing the most volume. And you could actually provide liquidity. You can provide your tokens and earn interest on your tokens. That's at $6 today. If Ethereum rips to 7, 8, 9, 10,000, I think Uniswap does very well and gets to $30, $40 easily. So you can take that profit and move it into Bitcoin. You can move it into stablecoin or wait for a correction. So yeah, there's a little bit of research that's required, but is it worth doing that? I'd probably say yes.
So how does crypto reach somebody who is maybe not as financially fit, or doesn't maybe reach the avatar of somebody who is investing? How can somebody how does somebody maybe even create different ways to get crypto coming to them instead of maybe having to just purchase it? Are there ways to do that? Like,
yeah. It depends. Like if you
let's say, all right, this is my budget, right? I have a budget, and I don't have a budget for a crypto. And even if my budget is $5, $50,000, whatever that number is, it's like I'm capped here. How can I figure out more ways to get more crypto without necessarily spending money that I have to live off of?
Oh yeah, do you provide a service? Like if you're in sales, if you provide a service, or if you run a company, right? What I would be doing, and what I had friends doing, is they were accepting crypto for the service that they provide in 2018, 2019, 2020. I had friends that were collecting crypto for their traditional business when Bitcoin was at 5,000 a coin. So let's just say that they did a job. Let's say they were selling roofs, right? And the project was $10,000, right? And they could take that 10,000 instead of fiat, which is losing value sitting in an account. They took it in a Bitcoin. They got 2 Bitcoin. Remember, 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. So today Bitcoin's at 87. Next year it could be at 150, and he did nothing. So accept crypto for some of your services, start a side hustle. It's going to be very, very easy to do that in the next couple of years, because all these platforms like Stripe, for example, like you can get paid out in crypto right now. PayPal is all in crypto. You can buy crypto via PayPal. You can have cash in your PayPal account and swap it into crypto. So find ways, and you got to get creative if you don't want to like actually buy it.
Yeah, I was actually, you funny you said that because I was actually thinking about that because one of the things that I did was I created a community on WAP, or I was telling somebody to create a community on WAP versus, and this is not a WAP promotion, but
Yeah.
rather than this other platform, because WAP you can get paid out in cryptocurrency.
Oh,
Like
for
when
real?
somebody pays for your product, yeah, you can get paid out in cryptocurrency. So I'm like, man, how do we? I'm always trying to find ways to not have to purchase something that I can potentially get, income
Yeah.
wise, whether that's trading, whether that's like you said, a product for cryptocurrency. And I even like think about like my church, right? My church, I invest, or I guess the church we go to, when I pay my tithes,
Yeah.
I pay them in cryptocurrency.
It's cool.
And I'm like, I don't know how much crypto they're getting,
Yeah.
but they should never sell
Exactly.
their Bitcoin or their cryptocurrency.
They should have goals. If it hits this number,
Right. But overall, I'm like, man, this institution could be,
Yeah.
incredibly funded, if,
sure.
and obviously I don't know, all of the details with that, but I'm always trying to figure out ways how to create ecosystems where I could benefit. Like even in my ecosystem today, like I'm trying to find ways to earn as much crypto as possible because I believe in it, because I believe, especially Bitcoin, I believe in the fact of building, digital wealth over a period of time, and so I think when people are listening to this, they're going to be very encouraged. Hey, you know what? Maybe if I want to invest into this thing, or if I want to get some of it, how can I not just only buy into it, but create leverage to where I can create it coming to me? So
Yeah, like think about people that are in real estate that do like fix and flips, right? So let's say they buy a property for 500,000 and they're going to sell it for, let's say, 700,000. Today, Bitcoin's down 30%. If this week you could sell that property and you were going to sell it for 700, but what if you said, okay, I'm willing to sell it for 600,000, but you're going to pay in Bitcoin or you're going to pay in Ethereum. Now, this has obviously got to be somebody that believes in crypto, and there's already companies that are facilitating these transactions, so that's not an issue anymore. And that will be the future. But would you sell it for 600,000, 100,000 less than what you were going to sell it for? Still profit, but you take that payment in a Bitcoin. Even though say Bitcoin's 87,000, Bitcoin gets back to the highs. That's another 40% gain. What's 40% of 600,000? Half would be 300,000. So let's just call it 220, 250. Well, you were going to sell it for 600 plus 220, let's say 220, 820. You just made an extra 120,000 just because you took it in crypto. And I think that's where everything is going when it comes to the smart people. Smart people will offer their product or service for maybe a little bit cheaper in fiat. And they'll lean toward, hey, give me X amount of Solana, give me X amount of Ethereum. And obviously that person or that company or that business needs to have some belief in the asset and also the timing. If we're at all-time highs, I wouldn't do that. But if we're in a correction, which we are in right now, this is the time to be accepting and really collecting as much as you can.
So we live in America, right? And America is based off of this American dollar, right? Where, the U.S. dollar pretty much trumps everything right now in terms of the currency that people use when they're transacting, right? Even if you go to other countries, right? The U.S. dollar is supreme in most places.
Yeah.
Let's say 5, 10, 20 years from now. Is it more important to collect U.S. currency, or is it more important to collect digital assets? Is it more important to collect gold? Should you diversify and do them all? And at which level should you do them all, projecting 5 or 10 years from now?
It's real simple. If you don't own assets, you're going to get crushed in the next 5 years. Look at today, silver all-time high, over $70 an ounce, gold all-time high. That rotation will happen probably into crypto and in different stocks, but you have to own assets. The dollar buying power since the Great Depression in the 1930s has only gone down because they're printing. Yesterday, Amari, the Fed injected $6.8 billion into the market. On December 1st of 2025, we went from a process of quantitative tightening where they're taking money out of the system, and now we're technically not officially in QE, quantitative easing, but we're in QE, and we're going to be buying. The Fed will be buying U.S. bonds, U.S. debt, about, I think, $30-40 billion a month, pretty much moving forward. And they're literally buying every single week. And they bought some yesterday, which devalues this dollar. And that liquidity will take some time to move into assets. But give it 3, 6, 12 months, that liquidity will flow back in. And that's what we're waiting for, to move into the stock market and into crypto. So you got to own assets. Which assets? Are you more aggressive? Are you younger? Your age? Like all that stuff does play into some decisions, right? If you're older, you can't take as many risks. But when you're younger, putting $100 a month into a low-cost ETF could dramatically change your situation when you're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. So you got to have that plan. But assets over everything the next 5 years.
How do you feel like it's about to be 2026? How do you feel like the AI movement, the artificial intelligence movement, how do you feel like that's going to affect the crypto investing space?
Well, a lot of people don't know this. NVIDIA chips help Bitcoin mining. So the bigger Bitcoin gets, the more decentralized Bitcoin gets. NVIDIA has a tie to that because they make the chips, the GPUs that people use to mine Bitcoin. The more Bitcoin mining there is, the more decentralized essentially the network is, right? More security on the network. So NVIDIA is here to stay. They have government contracts, they have self-defense contracts, and they're working now with other companies like the Palantirs. The U.S. government, okay, listen to this. The U.S. government just took 10% equity in Intel. That's why Intel, we called it out at $23, currently trading at 37 today. So the U.S. government's all in. China's all in on AI, and it's not a bubble. You know, you look at the dot-com bubble compared to where the markets are at today. People say, well, stock market's at all-time high. We are still about 1/4 to 1/5 of the way there from that dot-com bubble. This decade started with a crash, COVID, right? 2001, you had 9/11, stock market crash. Early 2009, 08, 09, 010. That decade kind of valley. We are in the roaring. Just don't say you didn't hear it.
That's crazy. I actually never thought about that.
Yeah.
Every decade was something that happened to make the economy digress.
Great Depression happened in early 1930s, 1932, 1933, World War II.
Chill, I didn't know that. You know what's funny? You know what's crazy? So back, I was thinking about this. When COVID happened, right? When COVID happened, you know, we live in South Florida, so we were on lockdown, but we weren't really on lockdown.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was like us and maybe like Atlanta.
Yeah, AZ.
Georgia, AZ. Yeah. You know, like kind of those places where it was just like, you know, you can wear your mask if you want to.
Yeah.
we were driving down the causeway where you see all the ships, Norwegian or Caribbean, Carnival. And I remember looking at, for some reason, I was looking at the stock prices. I was like, let me look at the stock prices.
Yeah.
$4.
Yeah.
$8.
Oh, yeah.
$2. And I know what I should have done.
Yep.
But I said to myself, I said, man, there's no way that these companies are going to go bankrupt. There's no way.
Yep.
And you look back, I mean, we can look at it now. Let's just look at it now. Now, let me just ask chat really quick.
Yeah, Bitcoin was at like under 4.
Bro.
ETH was at
a movie.
ETH went to like $87, I think.
Check this out. Hey, chat, I want to know what the stock prices of all the major cruise lines are right now.
Royal Caribbean went to like the teens.
Let's see.
And then now it's at 230 something.
No way.
Yeah, Royal Caribbean, I fumbled that.
Man, we all fumbled it. And I looked at it, I was like, man.
But you couldn't buy everything. But yeah. Massive time of fear. Sentiment was extreme fear.
And so here, let me look. So Carnival's at 31 and I could go 5 years ago. In 2021 it was $10.
Yeah.
You know, Royal Caribbean's at $292.
Yeah.
In 2022 it was $84, $58.
Yep.
Norwegian airline. It's
Dude, go look at Tesla.
No way.
Down. It was at 150 3 years ago. It had to be $75 or less during COVID. Maybe even lower than that. Everything was down bad. And whoever had capital, whoever was prepared. That's why preparation is everything when it comes to investing.
Wow.
Always building a basket of extra funds. And when there's corrections, the people that have cash on the side, that's why cash is a position. People think, oh, cash is trash.
Cash is king.
Your broke person on Instagram that's telling you that is an idiot.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. It's a stupid concept.
Yeah.
Whoever has cash ready, even in corrections like this, can deploy slowly that capital into the market. So,
man, that's crazy.
And there will be corrections in the future. That's what people don't understand.
Everything's a cycle.
Yes. You just never save money for an emergency because then an emergency happens. You never save money for a rainy day because then a hurricane shows up. You never save for that, but you save to invest. And in times of crisis and in times of fear, right now there's massive fear in the crypto market sentiment right now. And Bitcoin's at 87,000. We have more fear now than we did during COVID. And we have certain altcoins at the COVID levels. That shows you something.
So let me ask you this question. If there was no cryptocurrency right now, what do you feel like you would be doing? Or what type of profession do you think you'd be in?
I don't know. My family comes from law enforcement and police. So I don't know. That was crossed my mind. And shout out to all the people, military, law enforcement, all of those careers. Maybe that, but I don't know. To be honest with you, I think I still would have found trading, maybe stocks. I've recently got into stock options the past 2-3 years and have done very well on that space as well, which is why it's not just about crypto. It's just overall investing is, I think you're forced to do it. You have no other choice. And the generation under us, right? Those Gen Zs, they don't want to go to work. They're not. My brother's 13 years old. He's got a good amount of crypto because I've been paying him in crypto for 4 years now. But he's not going to have a job. He'll go to college probably if my dad's watching this. He'll go to college, but he's like, I'm going to own the building. I'm going to have the employees. He's already in that mindset. This TikTok generation, they don't want to work for somebody else, which is why unemployment will be an issue in the U.S. in the next 5 years for sure. We just got to pray that inflation stays down. But that generation doesn't want to work for somebody else. They want to invest. They see this lifestyle. They see that you can travel. How they do it, I don't know. But I think in the U.S., jobs are going to be replaced with obviously AI and robots. I think that's already happening. Call centers, salespeople, all that's going to get replaced. It's how do you position yourself around that? They're only going to print more money from an investing standpoint. They're only going to continue to make sure that they devalue our currencies. And you want to talk about what's happening in Japan?
What's happening?
Do you know
in
what's
Japan?
happening in Japan?
I don't, but let's talk about it.
This is a lot.
What is happening in Japan?
So Japan right now is raising their interest rates. Okay, because of massive inflation in Japan. And if you don't know the backstory, Japan is the largest holder of U.S. debt, U.S. bonds, U.S. treasuries, right? So for the longest time, I think 30 years, Japan had 0% interest rates. So people would go to Japan, take out a loan, pay no percent interest rates, and then that money would move. Now you're seeing their rates go higher. So when their rates go higher, let's say I'm in Japan and let's say I'm a business, why would I have money in the U.S. when I could just have money in my own country's currency? Because when rates go up, okay, think about the dollar. The dollar, our interest rates went up in 2001, 2002, 2003, right? So that's more likely for assets to be sold and for money to go into the dollar because people are going to earn a higher percentage of the dollar. Well, in Japan, you're seeing foreign assets, crypto liquidity, real estate, a little bit, but assets are being sold overseas to stay in Japan because their bond prices are going up right now because their rates are going higher. So that's what's also putting a lot of pressure on global liquidity. And it's also devaluing other currencies. That's why the dollar's dropping and money's flowing into the Japanese yen. And this is where all these markets get connected, Forex and crypto and just liquidity. All of these markets run on liquidity. Your sell order or your buy order in your exchange or in a trade or on a Forex broker, there has to be liquidity on the other side. And if there's not, you're not getting out the position. Well, liquidity has been moving and shifting right now. It's going to take some time. So Japan's raising rates, which is kind of crazy. And they're dealing with hyperinflation in the country right now. So our inflation's going down and theirs is going up. The moment it starts to come back down, I think we have a rocket ship for all these assets. It's called the carry trade. Think about going to Japan and just taking money out at 0%, which that money is going to be what? It's going to be in Japanese yen.
Right.
0% interest. Now their rates are going up. They're raising rates.
So now it's not going to be 0%. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to go up. So when they're raising rates, they're selling. Okay, they're the largest holder. This issue. They're the largest holder of our debt. So they're selling our stuff. They're selling our bonds. They're selling our stuff, making our bond prices go up. Not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. But the Fed, okay, this is where you have really four major central banks. You have the Federal Reserve, you have the ECB, the European Central Bank, you have the Bank of England. They just cut rates a couple days ago. And then you have Bank of Japan. This is all a liquidity issue. So Bank of England's cutting, the Fed's cutting, ECB is pausing, I believe, and they're raising rates. When Japan stops this raising rate stuff, oof, get ready. We're going to rip.
Let me ask you this question, bro. First of all, how did you become so knowledgeable about all of these things?
I don't know. I just study. I just on my computer too much, I guess. No, I don't know. I just study it, man.
The rabbit hole.
You learn
is
a
real.
little bit at a time, and it sounds like you know everything, but you never know everything. It's a lifelong journey. Like I didn't understand rates and stuff when I got into crypto. I just wanted to make money, and I just knew the dollar was going to keep dropping in value.
Now I have a question for you. I guess more on the personal side. You know, what do you feel like now looking back, your level of success? What are maybe some of the things that it's cost you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, making bad decisions, lost 6 figures on a trade. You know, definitely that could have been, probably invested a little bit differently. I don't know. You know, people think I'm extroverted. You're like, you know me, I'm introverted. I don't like talking to people. I don't go out. So I feel like I've probably lost money. Oh, I've definitely lost millions of dollars by saying no to a lot of things. You know, different deals and, hey, promote this coin, we'll give you this. Hey, promote this, platform, we'll give you this. So, yeah, I wouldn't say those are losses, but those are definitely things that you can't change your character for a certain amount of money because some people will make a lot of money really early on, and then they'll lose it all in 5-10 years and deal with a lot of issues. I'm playing the long-term game. Everything I do is long-term, from like the friendships to the investments. It's a long-term game. And a lot of people, especially when they're younger, they're just trying to come up really quickly, trying to find the shortcut. And then they end up getting cut. They end up getting hurt. They end up making a bad decision. Their income goes up, and then they immediately change their lifestyle. And then they're broke in 5-10 years. That sucks, right? And I don't wish that upon anybody, but that's the world we're living in because everybody's trying to be the next influencer on Instagram or on YouTube, which is another conversation. So I would just say remain humble, and I don't know how we got into this, but remain humble in that season because you could be up one day and you could be down in another day. So you got to just remain not balanced, but you got to remain even. At always even. That's why I love the ocean. You ever go into like the middle ocean, go on a cruise ship, and you're just like, ocean's flat. And it just keeps going. It's never ending, right? That's how this game is. Like, it's a knowledge game. It's a lifelong game, and you are playing against other people. So you need to have a level of competitiveness to it, which we come from sports and stuff. But yeah, I don't remember the question.
Well, what are some of the habits? No, that's good. What are some of the habits that have maybe changed your life for the better? That you maybe didn't focus on as much before.
Like habits of, like investing.
Just in general.
However
you want to.
I would say I would say you have to have some passions outside of whatever you're doing. So I got into golfing.
You're big into golf now.
About a year ago, I said I'm going all in on this. I can play this thing long term. I got a coach. Shot a 93 the other day. 95 and 93. We're breaking 100 now. I still suck though. Lifelong thing. So you got to have things that take your mind off of whatever you're doing. So like if you're a mom or if you're running a business, like you got to have hobbies, you got to have passions outside of it. Now, certain habits like working out every day, non-negotiable, working on eating better, right? Lifelong process on that. But also reading, the personal development, right? Turning your car into like a personal development hub. Like rarely listen to music unless it's in the gym or you're trying to get fired up. But also environments. I think one of the habits that I was so grateful for at 18 is I went to Tony Robbins when I was 18 and walked on the fire coal. Like I did all those. I went to different seminars for Bryant Tracy, saw these people and got exposed to them really early. Listened to Jim Rohn every day on the way to high school for 90 days, right? Those habits are irreplaceable. And if you're listening, dive into personal development and don't just study all day, but apply those things. But your environment, that's like my favorite habit.
What does life look like for you, right? If money didn't exist, right? If money wasn't like an issue for you, what would your life look like?
I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I know traveling is a core piece of my life. I don't like being in the same environment too long, and I'm very, very spontaneous. Like we could be here today and somewhere else tomorrow because I decided 30 minutes ago. So I think money gives you that level of freedom where you have flexibility and you can just don't have to worry about it. Like when you're 15, 16, you're asking your friends for like, hey, gas money, hey, you can throw me $5. Like okay, when you're 15, 16, okay, I guess that's fair. But as you get older, you realize like you have financial freedom and you have time freedom. Time over money all day. But then you have this like location freedom where you can just go to places and bring people with you or invite people with you or just go see things. So depends on your personality. For me, I just want flexibility. I don't want to have to worry about small decisions because people let small decisions get magnified, like from where you sit on a plane or level of comfort. Like I will always pay for comfort and I will always not stress the small things. So as long as I don't have to stress the small things, that's it. That's all I care about. That's all I care about.
No, that's good, bro. You said something about, having location freedom, and with having location freedom, you're able to bring people with you. And that's something that I always wanted. I always want to be able to, like, if I get access to a room,
yeah,
obviously you have to bring the right people, but I'm always a person that exposure is everything.
Yep.
And I was blessed as a young child, thankful to my environment, to my family, and, where, I was brought into rooms that I didn't qualify for. And I think a lot of us have this thing about...
Your mom's the GOAT, that's why.
Yeah, my mom is
Shout out Claudiane. Shout out Claudiane.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to you, Mom, for sure. And so one of the things that I try to do is I try to bring people along with me, just to open up their eyes a little bit, and I know there's a lot more to see. And even with this conversation, this whatever we're doing here, it's the same thing. It's like, hopefully people can learn something and just open up their third eye, whatever, another sense for them. We're like, oh wow, this is what's possible. This is the knowledge that I'm, and so that's always something that I want to do. So I want to say I'm proud of you for that, because you've impacted a lot of people.
Thanks, bro.
A lot of people.
There's a lot left, especially going into the new year. Like,
for sure,
everything that we've done, it means nothing, right? You could always do more. You could always serve more. And you ask this question to other people. You say, well, how do you add value to the world? Well, flip it around. How are you becoming more valuable? Every day I ask myself that question. How are you becoming more valuable?
Right.
How do you help the marketplace? How do you help people? Maybe it's an Instagram post. Just the caption might help one person, right? Maybe it's something you post on your story. I don't even care if you get 10 story views, right? Put 10 people in a room. Think about it that way. Maybe one person's get impacted. When you make a YouTube video, right? When you send out an email, every small thing, you just never know the ripple effect to it. One person listening to this podcast, you just never know.
Right. No, 100%. You talk about that. And we talked about it earlier, but one of my clips on YouTube is now like almost 100,000 views.
Yeah. And
the person who was in the clip, that was their first time interviewing. They said that the Holy Spirit spoke to them and said that they don't do social media.
Yeah.
And it was like their first time sitting down, and they came through another relationship. And like even that video, I had somebody DM me from Ghana.
There you go.
They saw the clip, found my Instagram, and it was like, yo, I don't know what is going on, but I'm thankful you posted that. Where's the full interview? And it made me even want to put the whole thing out. But it's crazy how like one piece of one thing can like change somebody's life. And even in the networking space, people always ask me, hey, Amari, how can I bring value to whatever you're doing in these networking events, securities networking events?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, next time you come better.
Yeah.
Come with more deals done.
Yeah.
With a bigger following. Maybe that's something you want, more credibility, more knowledge. Come as a better person.
Yeah.
And that by default will make it better.
That's the problem. People in this world right now, 2025, they go to networking events like your events, which are fire, by the way, and they're just trying to like take. And you can feel the energy from those people like right when they walk in the room. Like
100%.
No matter what they have on, the energy just doesn't lie. But then you have people that will just serve and that just give.
Man.
And like, I think that's something that I've done. I'll continue to do. You're always continuing to do that. And that's why long-term, like you're playing the long-term game, which is why you're going to win. Most people are playing the short-term game. They're playing this, how do I get rich in the next 3 years? What about how to get wealthy and stay wealthy for the next 300 years for my family?
Sheesh. That's a bar. I'm happy you said that, man. Listen, there's 3 ways, and I say this all the time, but there's 3 ways to get into any room. But there's only one of those ways out of that 3 that gives you the most favor. You can pay your way, you can earn your way, but you can serve your way. When you pay your way, there's always another level to pay into. When you earn your way, there's always another accolade to get.
Yep.
But when you serve your way, it's just service. How can I provide value without wanting to return without anything coming to me expectantly?
Yep.
But also that gives you the most favor.
Yeah.
right? That gives you the most favor. You'll be able to go into any room,
Yeah.
talk to anybody because you're serving at a level that is, most people just don't do it. Most people aren't humble enough to do it. It's like, I don't have to serve in certain ways. You don't have to serve in certain ways. But the more we have service and have servant leadership.
Yep. Look at Hormozy. I mean, it's the
Crazy.
It's the best example like we've seen ever. Just gives value, like 30,000 pieces of content every single month or every single week, and then does a book launch and it nets 9 figures.
Playing the long game.
Gave enough value for so long, for really like 3 to 5 years online because he wasn't online,
and he gave away his first book for like 99 cents,
and then boom, and it's all his books are. That's a great example for business. And then you have people like in the church world doing value, adding value on social media, doing prayer chats, prayer calls. So no matter what industry you're in, you can serve in that industry,
right, and
make that space a lot better. Which I think that's the most valuable thing you can do.
Man, this is great. This is great. I mean, I could talk all day with you, brother. I know we got to go soon. My question is this: like, what are some of the things in 2026? Because 2026 is right around the corner. I mean, for me, 2026 is going to be one of the most intentional years that I've ever had. I mean, I'm talking about from all 7 areas: mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, relationally, financially. I have all my financial goals written out.
Nice.
I have how I'm going to live, my budget wise, my fitness routine, my prayer routine. I have all the things. So what does 2026 look like for you, and how maybe intentional are you with it? How intentional are you being with it so you can get to the next level? Maybe what do those things look like for you?
Yeah, so I'll take like probably a couple days. I'm going to be traveling this weekend, so I'll take like a couple hours. And what I always do is I have a notebook for every year. So on the notebook that I'll write all the things that happened great in 2025, and then I'll write down the goals for next year. And I'll have some major goals, and I'll just write a list of maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 things. And then I'll circle like the top 3 to 5 that if that happens, when that happens, 2026 is the best year ever. And then I'll focus on there, and I'll break it down, maybe into quarterly. But really this year, I'm going to just be focusing on winning the day. I'll have the big goals. It'll be on the vision board. It'll be in my wallpaper on my phone. But every day, what are you eating every day that's going to, make your body better, right? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you doing to make your business grow? Are you adding value, or are you just expecting things from not adding value to people or to the world? So it's going to be a day by day. 2026, I'm thinking, how do I just win today? But the bigger goals will be written down. I'll talk about them to myself every single day. I'll read them. I'll listen to an audio. So this is a trick I do, is I'll record an audio of myself stating the goals. I'm so happy and grateful now that, and then I'll state the goals, and I'll listen to it myself. So you say it, but then you hear it through your ears every single day. Look at the word hear, take the H off, it's ears. What's going in your ears every day? But there's a powerful training I heard years ago. When you hear it yourself, your like senses, like it just feels different. And you always state the goal as if it's already done. Not that you're going to do it, because you're not. It's already done. 2026, I earned X amount of money. I moved to this place. I received X amount of income, whatever the goal is. It's already written and it's already done. So you write it, you listen to it, you hear it.
Man, that's good. Yeah, that's great. I always talk about that. Say it as if it's already done. If you can read it, if you can think it, you think it, then you write it down, you recite it, and you affirm it, say it out loud. Yeah. And in 2026, even going further than that, it's like, man, somebody was asking me, Amari, would you live anywhere else in the world? I'm like, not really, but I think more so than that is what I want to do is, and what I'm going to focus on more so this year is, I want to create a system around me that I don't necessarily have to leave.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be the person that is trying to escape the reality that I'm living in. Yeah. I want to live in the world that I've created. And so systems for me in 2026 are very important. You know what it is: save yourself time, energy, and money. And I think that's one of the important things that we can all focus on: systems. And I guess my last question is this, or one of my last questions is this: if you had a chance maybe to ask or tell God anything not based off anything, if you had a chance to maybe ask or tell God anything, if you had a chance to see him or talk to him, what would that maybe be for you?
That's a crazy question. It's got to be about the future or the past, or
Hey man,
anything.
if you had a chance to maybe ask or tell God anything right now, what would maybe that be? Those things be like? What does that look like for you?
It's a great question. I'd probably say, why do maybe myself or why do other people overthink small things so much? Like, is it really going to matter? Like, is something so small, like screaming at somebody in traffic as they cut you off, or losing some money, is it really going to matter when you're like, why do we worry about those things? Like, why does worry exist? I might ask that. Why do people worry so much? Because I think people worry is an emotion, and that emotion holds people back from growing. And we all go through our times in our life where we're just worried about like paying the next bill or making more money, but is it really going to matter if you're 80 or if you're 90, when you're 80 years old, 90 years old, whenever you're called home? That's probably what I ask. Why do people worry? Why is worry an emotion?
That's good.
Why do we worry?
That's good.
Like, if we knew it was going to happen, if we knew we were going to heaven, why would we worry so much? Which, for some people, there's no worry about that. Why do we worry about bills? Oh, yeah, because you're going to lose your house. But what if worry didn't exist? That's probably the question I ask.
That's good. That's so good. Oh, man, thank you for coming on today, bro. That was really good. I learned a lot today. Did y'all learn a lot? If we have a fake audience in here, did y'all learn a lot?
Make some noise.
Make some noise. Woo! But, man, thanks for coming, bro. I'm looking forward to seeing what 2026 has in store for you. And hopefully I could be a small part of that success. And, just make sure you stay tuned in so you don't get tuned out. We out.
Happy New Year.
So, hey, what's up, y'all? Amari here. If you loved the episode, we would love that you leave a review, 5 stars, on any of the platforms that you are listening to or hearing this episode at or watching this episode on. We love you, and see you soon.